Neymar's career is pretty much over. Let's talk about it. For many football fans, yesterday was a disastrous day for the sport, as confirmation came out that Neymar will be undergoing surgery after he ruptured his ACL and meniscus in his left knee. This happened during an international qualifier of the World Cup between Brazil and Uruguay, where Brazil went on to lose that game 2-0. The incident itself was Neymar dribbling, pushing forward with the ball. Uruguay's number 7, Nicolas de la Cruz, was putting pressure onto him. They made contact, Neymar fell forward and ruptured his ACL and meniscus. This is very serious, incredibly serious. Not only because the fact it's not only an ACL, which that alone is disastrous for many footballers. However, it's a meniscus injury as well. And before we do go any further, if we can hit 3,000 likes, and that would help massively. It does push the video to much more people. And if you're new, then feel free and subscribe. And let's do code Neymar for 50% off all items at mazordesigns.co.uk for the best football prints on the market. So why is Neymar's career over? Well, keep in mind the fact that Neymar is 31 years of age, now playing for Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia. Due to the type of football he plays, an ACL and meniscus together is disastrous. One thing I want to point out, which is very interesting, and I'm still confused about to this day. Al Hilal, their Twitter account, put out a post saying the following: the medical test, Neymar, quotation mark, underwent and confirmed an ACL and meniscus tear injury in his knee. He will be going through surgery and in a treatment program that will be determined later. Return stronger at Neymar Jr. Are you kidding me with that photo? The photo that you use, I mean, the fact you made a poster in the first place is not really necessary, but you decide the photo to use is him in severe pain. He's in literal agony. He's in agony right now. Yeah, it's missing something. Okay, I know what we need to do. We need to grab an image of him with his hands on his head while being stretchered off behind him as well, to really show that he's in severe pain and distress right now. And you know what? Also, I forgot, god damn it, we also need 12 different sponsors. Puma sponsor needs to be involved on this. So basically, Neymar is out for the season. And at the age that he is, at 31, it's fair to say that this could be it for Neymar Jr. And before you think that I'm just being over the top here for the sake of it, think about it. The lad's 31, he'll be 32 when he comes back. ACL and meniscus injury could take out any footballer. But this is a footballer whose main strength is his dribbling ability, the speed in which he can accelerate and decelerate out of turns. Do you think he's going to be able to trust his body in the same way? And even if he does go full flat, there's no guarantee that this can't also rupture again. Neymar wrote on Instagram saying, "It's a very sad moment, the worst. I know I'm strong, but this time I'm going to need my family and friends even more. It's not easy to go through injury and surgery. Imagine going through it all again after 4 months of recovery." Neymar will be hoping to be fit and ready for the 2024 Copa America, which is in June and July next season. And it all feels so sad, the fact that it was only a month ago where he broke Pele's record. The great Pele's 77 goal record for Brazil. Neymar scored twice in a 5-1 win against Bolivia, taking his tally for the national team up to 79. He should be considered as one of the greats. However, when it comes to Neymar, there's always a but around him. There's always a if. There's never anything that is solid. You can't really speak about Neymar without speaking about the if. He's often considered as an unfulfilled talent, partly as a recognition of his insane ability, obvious from his days at Santos and his early days at Barcelona. But are people having too high of an expectation of Neymar? I mean, in football in the last 15 years, almost 2 decades, we've had consistent comparison to Messi and Ronaldo, going face to face, head to head, making each other better and better each month, each week, each game. Perfection is all that we've known for the last 15 years when it comes to these two perfect footballers in Messi and Ronaldo. With Neymar, people expect him to be an equal to Messi and Ronaldo, but it simply hasn't become that way, even though the talent is all there. Stats-wise, they do back Neymar up quite well. I mean, there's the Brazil goal-scoring record, beating Pelé. That's not something to be mocked about. Neymar, one of only 13 players to win the Copa Libertadores and Champions League. He's the only one in those 13 to score in both finals. His career in Europe, while not perfect, surpasses really anything achieved by any other Brazilian forward. Ahead of Ronaldinho, ahead of R9 Ronaldo, ahead of Kaká. Statistically, you may say that Ronaldinho may be a better player dribbling-wise, or whatever. You may say that Kaká, okay, but he did win a Ballon d'Or. Okay, sure, but purely stats-wise here, none of them can compete with Neymar. None sustained equality for as long as Neymar in his time period. I mean, comparing him to the other Brazilian greats, so the original Ronaldo, it's almost considered sacrilegious, and, you know, it's insulting to even put any critique to him, but that is due to his injury problems in his career. He is always considered as the greatest number 9 of all time. However, longevity is a big problem with that. I mean, this is a player that has won a single league title in 14 years of European football. Only one league title in 14 years. Ronaldo has got to one Champions League semi-final, never reached a final. Rivaldo, his top-level European career lasted only 5 years, with Deportivo and Barcelona, and he was poor in the final year at Camp Nou. Ronaldinho was pretty much done by the age of 28, after an incredible half-decade spell of brilliance, winning the Copa Libertadores for Atletico Mineiro. And then, of course, there's Kaká, who briefly was the best footballer in the world, winning the Ballon d'Or, however moved to Real Madrid at 27, badly lost his way, and struggled to find a place in the team, and was in the MLS at the age of 32. So without wanting to discredit these other Brazilian superstars that we think of, Neymar's stint in Europe is incredibly impressive in comparison. At Barcelona, that was what people conceive to be his best. At PSG, it was surrounded by injuries, not being able to really play that often. I mean, for example, in the league, in Ligue 1, Neymar never played more than 22 games in a league season in 5-6 years? 6 years? I mean, that's insane. And what makes it even more upsetting is the numbers that he's got in that time period too. I mean, for example, 1920, 15 games played, 13 goals and 6 assists. In the 18-19 season, 17 games played, 15 goals, 8 assists. In his last year for PSG, 20 games played, 13 goals, 11 assists. I mean, Neymar is really the biggest what-if story of all time if he was never injured. And that does ask another question of, are we protecting our footballers? Only last week, Eden Hazard retired from football at the age of 32. Eden Hazard, similar to Neymar, had a lot of noise around them not being protected. Jose Mourinho spent a lot of his time at Chelsea saying that Eden Hazard is not protected. And Hazard, despite not really being injured throughout his time period at Chelsea, paid the price drastically at his time at Real Madrid. If you do want to see a video about that, then feel free and watch my video about Eden Hazard last week. And also, this does bring another question. Are players playing too much football? And you may be quite confused, but hear me out here. Yes, Neymar didn't play that much in PSG, but keep in mind how much he played the years before that. Neymar played 225 games for Santos by the age of 21. 225 games at 21. Before he even came to Europe and joined Barcelona, he played over 200 games. And this is what people are concerned, the likes of, for example, Jude Bellingham. People are saying that he's got these straps on him, and people saying that that shouldn't be necessary for such a young footballer. But you're playing football week in, week out, almost 2 times a week, 3 times a week, got international break, got all these cups. Is football potentially robbing us of these greats? So Neymar with a meniscus and ACL injury, typically an ACL injury takes about 8 months to fully recover and play football again. And this is a problem, as the Copa America is exactly at 8 months. So what's going to happen? Will Neymar be rushed? I think he probably will. And I think he's going to play when he's not fully ready. And I'm concerned that when Copa America does come around, he will go, he will play, and I'm concerned that he's going to get injured again. And that is what I just feel like is going to happen. Neymar will play for Brazil. It's a Copa America. He will play for Brazil. It's going to happen. And I think because of the time period, he's going to be playing football way too soon. When a player has an ACL injury and they're out for so long, they can lose conditioning, they can lose their match sharpness, their hardness, their game set on the pitch. And also it means that they are much more likely to tear something else, their groin, their calf, their hamstring. This is not due to the injury itself, but due to the length of time that they're out playing football. And especially when you get older, it just makes it more likely to tear something else. And due to the way that Neymar plays, I would not be surprised. I did do a video on Neymar a couple of months ago, saying that Neymar should have been the best player in the world. He should be the greatest. And what happened? Why isn't he? Because he's not the greatest. And we all know that he could be, because the stats suggest that. Game by game, his goals and assists, his contribution, if he's playing in League or not, because people may say that's not a good league. Just look at any other game that he's played against any other top team. If he's playing against Bayern Munich or any Premier League side, he's performing. In big moments, Neymar always turned up. In World Cups, Neymar always turned up excellently. Back in 2014 for Brazil World Cup, he was the star boy, he was the main man, and he took Brazil as far as he could until that game against Colombia, where he was kicked, or rather kneed, to the back by Colombian defender Juan Zuniga, and he was injured for the entire tournament. He came back and played in the 2016 Olympics in Rio yet again, and played against Germany in the final and beat them. Stood up yet again. In 2018, he was a bit quieter, scored against Mexico, but in a game against Belgium, which he got knocked out of, just couldn't get them over the line. And then just last year against Croatia in Qatar, he scored potentially one of the goals of the tournament against Croatia, created an astounding moment, individual brilliance, and that should have been his moment. That should have been it. But due to I guess just incredible unfortunate luck, it got robbed away from him, and Brazil got knocked out by Croatia. Neymar did indicate that that would be his last World Cup, and the fact that Brazil didn't go any further will be held against him, because in Brazil the World Cup is a be-all and end-all, and similar to how Messi was always judged by not being the equal to Maradona by the eyes of the Argentinians, because Maradona dragged Argentina to the World Cup. He won them a World Cup, and Messi, fortunately for him, he's done that. He dragged Argentina to a World Cup final and won it. And the equals for Neymar to other Brazilians is Ronaldo, won a World Cup, is Pele, won many World Cups. So for Brazil to never get any further than the semi-final, in which they lost 7-1 on home soil, will always be seen as a massive failure in the eyes of the Brazilian people. Everyone knows what Neymar did at Barcelona. Everyone knows that he should have been the person to take the baton from Messi. I mean, that was always seen as the plan. When Neymar was at Barcelona, he was always seen to be, when Messi moves on, when he gets older, he's the one to take that Barcelona spot, to take that number 10, and to move Barcelona forward. But Neymar had other ideas. His move to PSG is always held up as a moment where he got things wrong, moving to a lesser league. However, to be fair to him, Barcelona was getting a bit more shambolic at a time period. He was moving to an ambitious club in European football to be the main man. But then, Kylian Mbappe came up about a year or two later. He wanted to dominate and be the main man in the top side, rather than play second fiddle to Messi at Barcelona. However, due to Kylian Mbappe, he kind of became the second fiddle to Mbappe, because Mbappe is the wonder kid. Younger, faster, a homegrown talent as well, French, playing for PSG. I mean, he's a Parisian as well. He's always now going to be the second to Mbappe now. Small margins robbed PSG of their Champions League, which has been the entire point of signing Neymar, the entire point of PSG having all this money. Do you think they signed Neymar to win the league a few times? No, the Champions League was the be-all and end-all, and after 5-6 seasons, they couldn't get over the line. The furthest was 2020, and he lost to Bayern Munich in the final to a Kingsley Coman header, who was a PSG talent, who they let go, and they will always pay the price for that. PSG signed Messi to join Neymar, and PSG became too top-heavy, and their forwards, lack of defensive discipline, became a running joke, or non-running joke. But of the three, Neymar was more likely to put a shift in comparison to Messi or Mbappe. The issue with Neymar is that he's always been anointed as the next superstar to Messi, Ronaldo, after they end up. However, that is an impossible thing to face. Neymar twice finished in third place. behind him in the Ballon d'Or in 2015 and 2017. And the only comparisons between Neymar and the others of his generation is potentially unflattering for him, as there's the likes of Robert Lewandowski and Karim Benzema and Luka Modric, who predominantly peaked in their 30s, while Neymar's career is set to tail off in Saudi Arabia. There's a case that, similar to maybe a weird comparison, but maybe Wayne Rooney, that maybe Neymar peaked too soon, similar to a Rooney, where Rooney ended off his career pretty early compared to many others, as when Neymar was 19, he was already crowned the best player in South America, winning the Copa Libertadores for Santos, playing over 200 games for Santos at such a young age. In comparison to players around him, the likes of Robert Lewandowski, he was still playing in a Polish second division at the same age that Neymar was 19, becoming the best player in South America. Similar to Wayne Rooney, that when he was 19, he was already at Manchester United, already dubbed as the greatest English talent potentially, and was already deemed to be a Ballon d'Or winner eventually. Do you believe that Neymar wasted his talent? When you compare him to other Brazilian talents, or really compare him to anyone that is not Messi or Ronaldo, he's on top. But football isn't like that, and people want to compare him to greatness. And it's hard to compare him to Messi and Ronaldo because they are just so far above everyone else. Brazil's all-time goal scorer, the only man that's ever scored in a Champions League final and a Copa Libertadores final. His goals, his assists, the ratio of that. What if he stayed at Barcelona? What if he didn't get injured as much? What if he was looked after more at a younger age and he didn't get too many injuries? So many what ifs. But the reality is he's now in Saudi Arabia. He's now got a serious injury. We will not see him again for the next 8-9 months. And what I believe will happen is I think he's just going to get more injuries. And similar to Eden Hazard, well, I mean, I hope he goes back to Brazil. I hope he gets that moment again. But maybe similar to Eden Hazard, if he's not having fun, he can't do what he wants to do on the pitch, then he may call it a day. And it's a real shame, man, to see these players that we looked up to in my time growing up just now seem to start fading away. Tell me your thoughts down below. And yeah, I'll see you next time.